If you are looking for a scary game to play on Halloween, you really are spoiled for choice. From timeless classics to the latest VR experiences, it's easier than ever to find ways to give yourself a jump this time of the year. When it comes to spooky games, though, things get a little more difficult. Sometimes you want something that's a little bit more Scooby-Doo than The Shining. A perfect example of a spooky game for the family is Haunting Starring Polterguy. This game is a tongue-in-cheek horror game that plays like a reverse haunted house film. Instead of being on the side of the victims, you play as the ghost, haunting a family as they move from house to house. The family in question is the Sardinis, a family whose wealth came on the back of dubious manufacturing activities. You play as Polterguy, an extremely 90s ghost who has a particular bone to pick with the Sardinis. You were killed in an accident as a direct result of a defective skateboard sold by Vito Sardini. As a result, you need to scare the family into submission, chasing them out of a series of houses in a tale of revenge and righteous troublemaking. The gameplay is relatively simple. Viewed from an isometric perspective, Polterguy moves from room to room, chasing down the various family members and finding different ways to scare them. This is achieved through the use of what the game calls frightums, which appear as sparkles on various items through the game. By leaping into these items, the player activates the frightum and triggers some sort of event. Some of these events happen automatically when a family member comes close to the item. Some are manually started by the player by pressing the button a second time, and a few very special ones involve the player taking control of an object entirely for a short period of time. Making a skull fly around the room screaming at the victim is a good time for all. Except the victim, of course. The player has an energy bar at the bottom of the screen that is constantly depleting. When you scare a victim enough to make them flee to another part of the house, you will receive ectodrops that recover some of the bar. When it disappears completely, you are temporarily sent back to the underworld, where you'll need to collect as much ecto as you possibly can while searching for the exit back to the land of the living. This is the only part of the game where you can really lose, as if your portrait disappears down here before you can find your way back, it is game over. The controls show their weakness here, as Polterguy is a bit slippery to move around, and it can be hard to accurately dodge enemies or pick up drops of ecto. It's not a big deal though, since the rest of the game is charming enough to help you overlook these minor frustrations. The best thing in the game is the huge number of animations associated with the scares. From possessed toys to pools of blood, monsters climbing out of the walls to paintings showing hellish imagery. There are a massive amount of cool scares to unearth. The reactions of the family members are equally impressive as their knees shake and their eyeballs almost pop out of their head as they become more and more terrified. The sound effects are also great here, with a very Tom and Jerry-ish style to them. This is exactly the kind of game that is perfect to break out at Halloween. It is relatively short and easy to get to grips with. It's great fun, despite not being particularly deep, and it provides a perfect spooky experience that the whole family can enjoy.